Lance, my brother.
What's up, bro? How are you, man?
I am blessed. How about yourself?
Yeah, really good, man. Can you hear me okay?
I could hear you great, man. The audio's amazing.
Awesome.
Broski, before jumping in, because I feel like we're going to have a great conversation together. There's so many things that I want to unpack with you. Let me just introduce you to my audience. So, Lance Essihos, he is a phenomenal host of a podcast that is widely popular. It was in the top 50 podcasts worldwide on iTunes, called The University of Adversity. So, before jumping into anything else as well, I just want to introduce me to your audience. So my name is Christopher Dedeyan. I'm a professional speaker and a peak performance business and life coach. So last, my brother, first and foremost, how are you doing today?
Good, brother. Yeah, it's good to meet you, man. Grateful for the opportunity to come on your show.
Yeah, I mean, I know this is going to be a great conversation. Just in looking at what you have done, obviously, I've looked at your stuff. We were gladly connected through Todd, and everything that you're doing with your podcast and the University of Adversity is amazing. And let's kind of start with there. Tell me about like how you started the podcast, like, and when you started, did you think it was going to be what it became? Talk to me a bit about that.
Yeah, so I was actually thinking about it. We are nearing the 3-year mark coming
Oh
up
wow.
at the end of the month. So it's happened pretty quick. You know, I started the podcast just kind of on kind of my intuition was telling me that I needed to do it. And it was just something that I knew I needed to do. I didn't expect it to kind of take off like it did, but sometimes divine timing,
Mm-hmm.
you follow the message that you know you need to take, and that's what happened, man. And it just at the time there wasn't as many shows, there wasn't as many hoops to jump through as there is now, but there's still so much opportunity in podcasting. Um, but yeah, it's been an amazing journey. It's changed my life forever. So I mean, we could talk about all the different ways, but it's been a great process for sure.
Okay, Lance, that was very interesting because you kind of mentioned to, or you alluded to, kind of listening to your inner intuition or that divine timing. So I'm
Hmm.
guessing you are somebody that is connected with that. And what was that aha moment, or what pulled you towards being like, hey, this is the moment? And how do you listen to that divine information within you to take certain decisions within your business and personal life?
Well, it's funny because every decision that I've made has come from my intuition. And I encourage people all the time to listen to that because that's your soul, that's your heart, that's you, that's really you, right? If you're not listening to that, you're usually living someone else's story, someone else's ideas, right? And for me, I had learned a lot from podcasting. You know, I had been listening to a lot of Joe Rogan, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of Bulletproof Radio, Dave Asprey. Um, there were some other ones back then too, like Tim Ferriss. And I just really enjoyed the way you could get information. I really enjoyed the fact that you could be like a fly on the wall and there was no
Mm-hmm.
bullshit. It was like there was no narrative. It was kind of like it's everybody's kind of being honest and you felt like you're in a real conversation. And for me, that was really relatable. I really like the idea of being able to share information and have people actually, be authentic and open up and share their truth. And that's what I wanted to do, right? That's what I resonated with in other shows because that's what I needed at the time. So I thought, what if I could do that? What if I could have a show where I could have people provide a container where we can open up, we can have conversations, and somebody out there listening may need to hear it, and sometimes that one conversation or that one person, boom, it's enough for somebody to make a different decision, and it's kind of like the bridge to the next step. People procrastinate, people do all these different things, tell themselves stories, and sometimes you just need somebody that you resonate with a message, whether it be myself or somebody else, that will allow you to kind of make that decision and change to a different direction. So that's what I needed, and that's where I got my information. So that's why I decided to start it. And some people probably thought I was crazy, and like a lot of the things I do. But yeah, it's been amazing for sure.
I love that. I love that. I want to highlight a couple of things so our listeners could really hone in into it. You did say everything you do, you listen to your intuition. And I truly believe that. I've done exactly the same thing every single time I've done a business move, a personal move that has succeeded. I've listened to my intuition. And every
Mm,
single time that I've repressed that feeling and I've like, oh no, this doesn't, nah, let me not listen to it and go towards something, I've failed at it, lost money, bad decisions, bad partnerships, and so on. So it's so important to really be in touch with your inner self and listen to that. Now,
yeah.
as well as you spoke about this amazing podcast that you have, it's called the University of Adversity. Why did you call it the University of Adversity? I'm guessing it's because you've went through something, there has been some adversity within your life, and if so, please talk to us about that.
Whew, that's a big one.
It is a big one.
Um, well, yeah, look, there's been a lot of adversity in my life. There's been a lot of adversity in most people's lives, you know. Something that was challenging for me may not have been as challenging for somebody else or vice versa, right? Everybody has their levels of adversity. And I've had adversity in a lot of different areas. And there was something around that word adversity that resonated with me. And I just played with the words a little bit. You know, I admired another podcast, Lewis Howe's School of Greatness.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked School of Greatness. And then I kind of looked at that and I was like, University of Adversity. And it was really, I was like, that's it. And it's been a blessing because I think a lot of people have liked that name. So it's almost helped me at times get in the door when they may not have in the beginning, like, but the name just was kind of catchy. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy about that. But yeah, that was the thing, you know, I want to provide resources, tips, tools, you know, hacks from help people get through that challenge, that whole start to finish on how they work through adversity. And most times that comes through stories, right? People who are either experts at different areas, whether it be trauma or somebody that has a crazy story that was able to get through it and become successful. I want to know what that is. Like, what is that thing that
Mm-hmm.
allows people to get through, and what stops people, right? And some people can get through these things and some people can't. So that's fascinating to me. So that's kind of how it all started, man. I was really and you know, I'm also writing a book. It's called Mastering Adversity, where it's the same thing, going through the journey of what it actually means. And yeah, it's
So,
I
so
think it's
Lance, talk to
powerful
me.
because everybody's going through adversity in this world, you know. So I think it's a real powerful thing.
I truly agree with you and believe that everybody in some shape or form is going through something. And like you said, maybe your adversity could be easy for somebody else and their adversity could be easy for you. It really is everybody's going through their own journey. Now, as you're writing a book and you've had interviewed these like amazing people from Grant Cardone to David Newman to Dean Graziosi and all this like amazing people, what are some of the tricks that you could break down and explain to our audience what to do when they are going through adversity? Adversity could be financial difficulty, weight loss, spouse, divorce, and all that fun stuff.
It's a great question. What I find with the people that succeed is that they just put in the work. There's no shortcuts. So many people are looking for the hack and this like shortcut to be able to not have to do things to get there. And look, there are ways, and I want to help speed up the process for people, but sometimes you just have to go through the shit. Sometimes you just have to be resilient, you know, sometimes it's part of it. And the people that are most successful have just become accustomed to that. They just realize that this is part of the journey. Failure is feedback. It doesn't mean you suck. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It just means that this is an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to get better. And honestly, the greats, the people that are really successful are no different than anybody. They've just
Yes.
been, they've been there longer. They've done it. They've failed a few more times and they are resilient. They don't give up. That's the thing. Like they don't take no as an answer as far as their goals. They just figure out a way, right? They stay empowered. They don't take any sort of challenge or obstacle as a stopping point. It's all it is a way to get better and a way to learn. So Like someone like Grant Cardone, man, the guy is just one of the most resilient dudes on the planet, right? You ask about him, and he just does not accept anything but success. And that's the secret. So if you're willing, to go through these things and you're willing to learn from the adversity, from the failures and the feedback that you get, then you'll win eventually. But I think a lot of people are looking for this like short, quick fix, and they really devalue the journey. The journey right now that we're in is what we're going to look back at later and go, huh, I went through some shit there. Like that's what you're going to talk about, not the end goal. The end goal is once you get there, there's another goal. So it's always about what you're going through along the way. So if anybody listening today can take something away, it's just like, understand that those people that have become massively successful have just been doing it for a long time, and they've become very good at being resilient, at taking the adversity that's in front of them and learning from it, and taking the time to reset and recalibrate and go, all right, this isn't working in this direction. Maybe we can go this way. This isn't working. Maybe we're going to go that way. That's it. And that's what I've learned has been the number one factor with all of these very successful people, is that they just don't take no for an answer when it comes to their goals.
Lance, I love that, because you just mentioned something that I talk about at a very high level on my YouTube channel and to my coaching clients. And when I'm speaking, often we look at the people that we admire, like you mentioned in Grant Cardone. You could look at Tony Robbins. You could look at anybody you admire, Beyonce on stage. But then we start looking and we compare us to them. But what's happening is that we're comparing their step 75 to your step 17. It doesn't mean you're not going to get there. You're just at a different part within your journey. And those people put in those hard yards, and they were resilient, like you said, to succeed. And that's the reality of success. So I truly, truly love that you highlighted that and you brought that in the forefront, because that's what it is. There really isn't that get-rich scheme. And if there is, it's very in a vanity way, it's fleeting. But if you want to create something massive that's going to impact with massive value, that takes time to create. And it's so much more sustainable that way in itself with solid foundations. So
yeah, I mean, you got to get your ass kicked sometimes. That's
yes,
just the reality of it, and it's how you look at it. Like, it's not good or bad. It's just part of the journey, and
yeah,
it's just all right. Let's go. Let's learn. Let's go. That's it, right?
yeah,
And yeah, I'm glad you highlighted that, because all of these people, every single person that has got there has lost money, lost relationships, lost this, lost that, failed. That's part of it. That is part of it, right? And it's like, how do you react to it? What do you do when you're in that position? It's not if you're going to fall off the path. It's how long do you stay off it and then go and recalibrate and go back on the path, right? That's the important thing. So it's a common thing amongst everybody.
I love it. I love that. And Lance, as we're kind of talking about this, tell me a bit more about you. I mean, are you a full-time podcaster? Is that what you do? Do you do other stuff? Like, what do you dabble into?
Oh, yeah, we got a lot going on right now. So I got a podcast production company as well called Mic Up, where
Okay.
we basically package a whole podcast for our clients that don't have time to do it themselves. Basically, without all the BS, we take care of all that. They can show up, record, we'll take care of all of it and make the magic happen. So that's my main business. Also, I'm writing a book, Mastering Adversity, which I'm going to be hopefully releasing late spring. I just got my first rendition of the edits back, so there's a lot of work to do still. So I got to get back into writing mode. So that, and also just the University of Adversity brand, we're going to be really, my goal is to build, like a massive academy where we have courses, speakers, resources,
Let's go.
and can just have a place where people can come and have the best tools, have the best resources to get through what they're going through. So there's lots happening all the time and a lot of moving pieces. So I like it that way, right? And it's been a great learning experience, and it's every single day there's challenges, but that wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. I love that, man. First of all, congratulations on all of your success, on everything that you're creating, from your university to potentially the academy and the courses and that aspect of like the podcasting. Anybody who wants to get into podcast and doesn't necessarily have time to figure it out, I highly suggest a team like Lance's in that regards. I actually have one like that too. It's super easy. Once you are in that public light, you want to create that. You just show up, and there's a team that's around you doing it. Huge
Yeah.
value, personal opinion, huge value within
Yeah.
that. So Lance,
Massive.
awesome job. Yeah,
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
awesome job with all that. And tell me, like, in regards to, like I said, when we comes to the University of Adversity and everything that has to do with adversity, and especially your book. And by the way, I'm actually finishing off writing, I'm co-authoring the book as well, so I know like how much energy that takes itself. Actually, let me ask you a question about that. When did you start? How long do you think it was going to take throughout the process that you're writing the book right now?
Yeah, great question. So last December, I signed on with a great company to do a crowdfunding campaign for the book. Mm-hmm. So we did the crowdfunding campaign in March of this year. We raised the money, which was amazing. Like I was just, for 1 month, I just hammered out promotions and just did it all. It was a big challenge for me just doing that, and we did it, and we accomplished the goal. So that was great. So then it was kind of like, all right, let's get the structure of the book. Let's do all that. And I started probably, in the spring, but August was the month that I really smashed it out. Like I was up at 5 most mornings, 5 to 9. I had almost 2,000 words done before 9 a.m. every single day in August, pretty much. Not every day. I shouldn't say every day, but you get what I mean. I got a lot of words done, and we got the real bulk of it done. But then, the process of like getting the edits and that, they came back a few weeks ago, and because I just moved to Mexico, so there's been a lot of different things. I sold everything and moved here, and I just didn't have the bandwidth to look at it at the time. So now I'm going to be diving into it again. So the whole process so far, since starting to write, how many months is that since the spring? I mean,
that's pretty quick, actually.
It'll be from start to finish probably about a year, if not probably a little bit more. We'll see. But I got a great team. I've got a great writing coach, and it's been a blessing. But the challenging part now is that the edits came back, and it's like, oh man, I got to like really tweak things and really like reorganize things. So now is going to be I think the most challenging, but it's all doable. So it is still one of the best things I've ever done, and I'll keep you posted because I still got to get back into that zone and just like, all right, back into writer's mode. And it's not always easy, right? A lot of it is like how you're feeling the environment. So you got to really cultivate the environment. And I guess I could ask you the same, like, how's that process been for you?
I mean, first of all, Lance, thank you for sharing that, because it gave a lot of insight. And like, I do know there's a lot of people that are interested in writing a book. For me, honestly, it was essentially, it's like a blissful ignorance, which I think a lot of the things I do is like that. I go into it, I'm like, yeah, we'll do it in like X amount of months or whatever. And then you're like, wait a minute, I bit off more than I could chew. But like you talked about resilience, then it's like, okay, what do I need to do to succeed at this? So I co-authoring a book with a top 10 CrossFit coach worldwide. And the book is essentially the correlation between sports and business, and how important it is to have that correlation to succeed in business as well, for an audience about our age. Because once you start the professional world, get a family, get kids, so on and so forth, you might be like, hey, let me push out some other things that are less important. And gym time or workout can be that, but it's actually counterintuitive to your success. So that's the aspect. Started working with him. And initially thought it was going to take a couple of months. And then as we started, we're like, no, we have to get a coach. As I'm a coach, I truly believe in it. Got a writing coach, Greg. He helped us out with that. And it's been now 2 years. We legit just last week read all the book from A to Z. So it's finished. Now, after 2022, we're going to look at, do we self-publish? Do we get a publisher? The marketing side of things. And the way that I'm kind of learning about writing a book, it's like running 2 marathons. As soon as you're done one marathon, you're like, all right, cool. Now start running another one, which is the marketing side of things. So it is a blessing, but it's a big project, a lot bigger than I thought.
Me too.
Yeah.
And
100%.
Yeah, I got a shout out to my writing coach too, Samantha Joy. She helped. She was awesome.
I love that.
She's still helping me. So
I love that.
I don't know how people do it on their own. Like, I just don't understand it. It's like,
Honestly, bro, it's because books are becoming so much more prevalent, and I love that. I love the fact that as you see, like so many books, like I read a book a week. I love the fact that books are getting out there. But I truly believe there are some people that are born to be authors, and then there are people like I think you and me. And sorry if I'm putting you in this category or not. That maybe we're thought leaders, and a book is a vehicle to get our thoughts crossed, but we're not necessarily true authors. And what I mean by true authors, in my opinion, some of the true authors right now that are living, that are like the top of the top, Malcolm Gladwell, Robert Greene. I mean, no, I was going to say Dr. Joe Dispenza, but I feel like he's more of a researcher and his books are amazing. Ryan Holiday, like those are for me right now the people that are alive that when they write books, it's their calling. And then they have byproducts of because their books are so amazing, they're going and speaking on stage, but they're not necessarily speakers. Towards maybe you and me, it's opposite, right? Maybe we're more speakers, and then we write a book to utilize that. So yeah, that's kind of that approach within that. And Lance, I do want to be respectful for your time here. So I do see that we're kind of coming up to time, but I still want to ask you a couple of
yeah,
questions.
I got time, bro. Don't worry about it.
Awesome. So first of all, as you had started this, and in like honestly, it's very impressive. In 3 years, you started your podcast and got it to the position you got, and you got these amazing names. How did you start getting these big names from the get? And you did mention that the wording of the University of Adversity was an advantage, but how did you get these people? Did you have the contacts before?
No, I didn't have the contacts before. Here's, I did have a couple people that I knew. Let me just think back. When you're pitching, first of all, for everybody listening out here, when you're pitching a guest, you always have to lead with thinking in mind, like, what can I do for them? How can I acknowledge that I see them, what they do? How do I know that, like, I don't want to just be like, hey, I read your book. Like, my thing has always been like, I need to really be truthful and something unique that I can connect and acknowledge them with. And then find some similar interest and maybe leverage somebody that we know in common. That kind of strategy is very, very important. And it did me well because in the beginning, at the time, it was, you pitch somebody. The key is once you get a really good guest, you leverage them like crazy, right? You use, I've had this, and you also, if you can get featured, if you can get any sort of your show out there featured, it can just help stack the value. We ranked high in the beginning because of like our strategies to hit top. I think we ended up hitting top 20 in Canada, top 50 worldwide. We ranked up high. So what I did is at the time, I would just pitch everybody myself. I would just say, all right, what's the stack here, the value stack? Lead with gratitude. Find something that I can find that I admire about them, and then go, I'd love to have you on the show. And then boom, boom, boom. I've had these people been featured here. Here's where we rank. Would you like to come on or whatever? It doesn't have to be complicated, but that's what I did. That's all I had.
I love it.
So to answer your question, leverage what you have, but don't make it about you. Make it about them. Like, why would they want to come on my show? Why? Like what can I do for them? What do they have going on? Do they have a book coming out? Do they have a course? Like, do your work, do your research, right? Especially in the beginning, because if you don't have a massive business, like if you're not a multi-millionaire, you don't have anything, then it's going to be a little bit more challenging. But that's the fun part. It's like a puzzle, you just got to get through a couple gatekeepers. So for me, I try my best to leave an impact with people. And as soon as you do that, they want to introduce you to somebody. They want to say, hey, you ask, like, do you know anybody that has a powerful story? I see you're friends with whatever. Yeah, sure, I'll connect you. Great. What can I do for you? Like, these are the things that we have to think about. Just like in a sale, just like when you're selling somebody something, it's got to be about the person. So you're selling yourself all the time, and a podcast is no different. So I was fortunate enough too, because of the timing of my show, it was a well-produced show. So people were like sending me people like, Lance, like there's all these, people that want to get on shows, and it was like, okay, cool. And then I could show that I was consistent, and I could show that, I wasn't quitting. That was the thing. And like, you know what, part of it, what's that saying? When preparation meets opportunity, that's what luck is or something.
Yes,
That's kind of what
yes.
it was, you know, like I was in the right place at the right time. And I love doing it. And I think that people could resonate with that message. So they are happy to introduce me to people. And before you know it, I got all these people and I'm like, oh man, I never expected this. And here we are, 350 episodes later.
Lance, I love that because you highlighted like the first thing, which is I think the most valuable thing, is you have to approach anything with value. What value
Yeah.
are you giving to this person? So
Yeah.
once you do the research, you're like, hey, I love this part of your book, this, that, and the other, and this is where I think we could collaborate. And then you say, like, okay, I've collaborated with this person, which is the second part, which is leveraging any opportunity you have that you could leverage that positions you in a position of what you're doing, and it's going to help them out. It's going to be so much easier to get. And finally, the third thing, your consistency. Like you said, if you're there, you're professional, people are going to come, and then you're going to connect. And it's so beautiful, this world, how you get people to connect left and right. And brother, one last question that I have before we let you go. Talk to me about you moved. So I'm guessing you were from the States, if I'm not mistaken, and now
From
you're in
Canada.
Mexico. From
I'm from
Canada. Which
Canada.
part of Canada, bro?
Vancouver.
Let's go. Okay, so I'm from Montreal. Have you ever been to
Oh,
Montreal? Have you been to the East
no, I
Coast?
haven't, but it's something I wanted to do. We'll see if I can
Definitely.
get, yeah, we'll see when I'll be back, but I don't know.
Okay, so I was actually in Vancouver this summer. I've
Nice.
been there twice, once for a speech, and last time was more for pleasure. Beautiful place. So first of all, which part of Mexico are you on the East Coast or West Coast?
I'm on the West Coast. I'm in a place called Sayulita,
Okay,
and it's just 45 minutes from Puerto Vallarta. It's an
okay,
amazing place. Yeah, I sold everything I own and moved to Mexico on October 30th.
okay.
So
Why?
now I just, with what's going on in Canada right now, just didn't align with my values,
Okay, fair
you
enough.
know?
Fair enough.
Didn't align with just, I have my own, everyone's got their own journey, their own personal preferences and personal opinions, and, just didn't like the direction. It didn't feel, and not only that, I I thrive in the sun. I thrive going onto the beach. I have
Yeah.
to create, and I know that I need to be in a state where I feel at a level that I need to be at. And in Vancouver in the winter, I love the city, it's beautiful, but I found myself getting into these ruts, and I just felt the need to switch things up. I've lived in Australia. I know what I felt when I was living in the beach and nature. And if I can do that again, then I would do it. And opportunity to come to Mexico, presented itself through my intuition. And I just said, you know what? What do I got to lose? I can work anywhere. I don't need to be in one office.
Yeah.
And that was just what I did. I had to listen to that, because just sitting in that place and not doing anything about it when I know I could would have drove me nuts. So does it seem a little crazy to some people? Maybe. But to me, it feels right and I love it. So
So
here we are.
I mean, Lance, first of all, thank you for sharing that. I don't think it seems crazy, to each their own. My opinion, I see some people being like, hey, I was born in zip code, I'm going to stay there my whole life. I find that a bit crazy, but that's my opinion. I could be 100% wrong. I believe that I'm a citizen of the world, so that ideology that there's no barrier and you go and experience other things, beautiful. And you have to go with what attracts you, not only physically, but spiritually. And that's kind of what you're talking about. And now the fact that you said you're from the West Coast, I 100% get your vibe. Like, it makes sense, the beach style and all that stuff. So that's amazing. My last question, bro. Habla español?
No, I just downloaded Duolingo, so I gotta commit to doing that, but I can't speak it. Yeah, I really need to start.
All right. So here's the thing, Lance. I don't speak very well either. I'm actually on Duolingo. So follow me. We're going to keep each other accountable. I've been
Okay,
like
sounds good.
600 days straight.
Oh
My goal
wow.
is, yeah, my goal. So I speak three languages. My goal is to speak the fourth one, which is Spanish, and give a professional speech in all four languages. I've given two out of my four. So the two other ones, and I'm like, Spanish, I'm going to learn it. So let's
Good
follow
for
each other.
you.
Everybody's laughing right now. They're like, yeah, learn Spanish.
Yeah. Oh, Haley's on. Hey, Haley. Yeah.
So, Lance, last thing, brother. tell me, where can people connect with you? Where would be the best place to get in touch with you to potentially listen to your podcast and so on and so forth? Go for it.
I'll keep it super easy. Just go to Instagram, link on the bio. We got everything set up on it's not Linktree, but it's the same sort of thing. It's better, I think. All the resources we have, the podcast, the website, our Unlock the Warrior Within Challenge, the Warrior Embodiment course, all this stuff is in the Instagram. Keep it super simple. So
Awesome.
Click the link on the bio, check out the podcast, leave us a review. It's greatly appreciated. And yeah, man, I thank you so much. I appreciate it. This was fun.
I mean, Lance, I knew that we were going to have like a great conversation. I'm looking forward to speaking to you next. I don't know when we're booked, but I'm going to be on your show as well. So looking forward to getting to know you even more. And we'll talk about your Spanish learning at that point as well, brother.
Sounds good,
All right.
brother.
Have a blessed
All right.
one. All right. Ciao,
You
ciao.
too. Thanks.